Welcome to a brand new series in the restoration industry. Gokul and I are launching a restoration masterclass, and this one is going to be on mergers and acquisitions. I am very excited to have Gokul here as the resident M&A expert. This is a huge topic in the restoration industry right now, and it seems like every week, almost daily, there are new announcements coming out about mergers and acquisitions that are happening with really big companies and really big players. So over the coming weeks and months, Gokul and I are going to be releasing a number of conversations on everything that has to do with M&A. Any questions that you might have if you are approached to sell your company, if you're thinking about selling your company, just really everything you're going to need to know. So stay tuned for a lot of episodes to come. Welcome back to another episode of the Restoration Masterclass series on M&A. Today we're talking about something that will hopefully normalize the process of selling for owners, right? We're talking about the emotions behind selling, and there are a slew of emotions that I'm sure you could be feeling as an owner thinking about selling your business, right? So let's dive into a few of like the top emotions that you see owners approach.
Yeah, so this is a really fun, interesting topic, right? Yep. So when I wrote that article for you a couple of months back, I got so many phone calls. Oh my gosh, this is exactly what's going on in my mind, right? So it's really, because most entrepreneurs are passionate about their business, and wanting to sell their business. You go through this whole kind of spectrum of emotions, correct? And let me tell you what happened when I sold mine. That's what the whole article that I wrote for you was based on, my own experience of selling my own business, correct? So you start off like when you're like, okay, I am really going to take my business to market. And you got to keep everything confidential, correct? You can't tell your employees, you can't tell your customers, you can't tell anybody, right? And there's huge guilt. Okay, that is a predominant emotion, because you're in a staff meeting and you're talking about the future, and you're talking about all these things, renewing insurance for the next 12 months, and you're keeping this inside of you. Okay, so you almost feel like you're kind of leading a double life almost, like, there's a lot of things you can't say. There's a lot of guilt when you take it out to the market in the beginning, correct? So then you kind of get a little bit used to it, right? You learn to manage it. It never goes away. You learn to manage the whole process. Then you kind of get to a buyer, you start talking about buyers to the buyers. And the questions that they ask you, hey, how did you start the business? How did you go from 0 to 60? And it's amazing when you start talking about it, you get pumped again. You're right. And then you start getting seller's remorse. Oh my gosh. You go back to like your first days of starting it, right? So those emotions start to come in. Like your baby, right? So then you get an offer on the business, correct? And you get into the due diligence phase. That's when you start talking in different languages. Okay? The emotions there are highly frustrating, because they're really asking probing questions about your business. And they should, if they're going to pay a lot of money for your business. But it's exhausting, okay? I mean, it's a lot of work. And a lot of frustration because you're repeating the same thing over and over and over again. So you get through the due diligence, you get to the closing call, and it's very anticlimactical, correct? And let me tell you how it goes. You have both attorneys on a call. You'll be on a call with the seller and the buyer. And one attorney will say, hey, I have all the papers, I'm ready to release it. And then the attorney goes, yep, I concur, I'm ready to release it. And then it's like, hey, everybody, congratulations. And that's it. I mean, it's literally 5 minutes. And when I sold my business, I did that. And you just sit in the office and you're like, is that it? So yeah, that's it. I mean, that's the closing call. And then the next 90 days or so, your emotions, you kind of know you've sold your business, things are different, but your day-to-day life hasn't changed yet, because you're still going through the transition. You're helping the buyer get their feet in the door and kind of get planted. It really hits you 3 to 4 months out. Okay, when you're not getting the calls and you don't have to do the performance reviews. That's when it really hits you. So there's a whole range of emotions, right? And it really helps to have a partner that's been through that journey before, that can kind of help you and guide you through that entire process.
Do you find that there are any emotions that are especially surprising to owners, where they get into the process like, no, I'm going to be fine, and then you get to a certain stage and like, I did not see that emotion coming?
Correct. Oh, it happens all the time. Guilt. Okay, because of the confidentiality. It's a huge one.
They're so excited. They're like, oh.
But you can't tell anybody about it. Yeah. And you got to manage it, because otherwise it can overtake the entire process, and you don't think logically to get the best outcomes. Correct? And that's when a good firm that's representing you can really help you kind of be that buffer, because it's an emotionally charged journey no matter what.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a great tee up to an episode that is coming on when to tell your team, how you tell your team, and
Yeah.
what that conversation looks like.
Yep, absolutely.